Okay, so welcome to the Team Elevate Thursday night team call. I've got a couple of guests here who are, well, let's just say extremely experienced, but for two different things. Like Nicky Tolson. Nicky, you've been in the business for over 20 years. You've built up a huge kind of enterprise. You've got lots of people that have working on your team. I mean, how many people have you got on your team
I
now?
have no idea. I have been saying over 600 for about 5 years now. I just
Wow.
can't count them.
Wow, that's it. And how long have you been in the business,
I've
Nicky?
actually been in the business for 23, 24 years, something
Yeah.
like that. And it becomes addictive, Tim.
And how many lives have you transformed, do you think, by introducing people to the business?
Again, it's a very open-ended question. I mean, I know I've been paid every month for the last 23 years for people who I introduced to Juice Plus all those years ago. How many lives have I changed? I don't know. The team members have changed lives. It's endless, absolutely thousands.
Wow, wow. And John, you've been with G's Plus and SA for quite some time too. And your background, you're a surgeon. Um,
I haven't been in it as long as Nicky, although I am a bit older than her. I think I've been in it for about 16, 17 years.
wow. And how's it affected your life?
It's been great because a lot of changes are taking place in medicine, and that is actually having an impact on what we know about Juice Plus. And, really we can drive it forward. It's just a great pity we can't actually recommend it as a therapy for anything.
At the moment.
Because, at the moment. Well, I cheat a little bit, but not too much. But the day is coming when we will be able to say that Juice Plus will be benefited in this way and that way for this and that condition. At the moment, we can just say it'll help most things in a general way. But we're getting very close to the point where we can say it's actually going to improve specific conditions. And that's what people want. They say,
Yeah.
I've got X. Will it help me? I can say, yes, it will, but I'm not allowed to say that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting point, John, because I know a lot of my friends, a lot of them have got scientific backgrounds. And I think when they hear about Juice Plus, they want to hear hard facts and they want to see the proof, they want to see the evidence. And I think that's a really good opportunity to talk about the research.
It has become a little simpler in recent years because we now know that almost every disease, certainly every chronic disease, is due to silent inflammation. And this is now accepted by the medical profession that silent inflammation is at the root cause of any disease you like to mention. And the one thing that Juice Plus has been proven to do, it counters silent inflammation. And therefore, it's a very easy step to go on and say that Juice Plus will improve whatever condition that person has got. And I recommend it for, virtually any condition you'd like to think about, but particularly the chronic degenerative conditions. But you name a condition, and I'll tell you it'll help that condition, because that condition will have silent inflammation at its root cause. And we do know, it's been shown, that Juice Plus counters silent inflammation by neutralizing free radicals. 20 years ago, we didn't believe that. Doctors take a long time to accept new ideas. Although it was 2,500 years ago that Hippocrates said, let food be your medicine. You've all heard that one.
Yeah.
But it's only now that doctors actually accept that the best medicine is in fact food. But now we know why. Before we just knew it helped. Now we know why it helps. Because the research, which is what brought me into the whole thing, has proved that it does lots of good things.
So, John, that's a brilliant point there. You were just saying that the research is what you got you into the whole thing. I mean, were you skeptical when you first heard about it?
Were you skeptical when you first heard about it?
Yeah. Yes. In fact, I knew Nicky for 5 years before I started taking Juice Plus. I was that skeptical. And you know how persuasive she can be.
So what was it? What was that sort of the switch for you?
Well, about 20 years ago, the medical profession started looking at prevention and nutrition, two subjects we actually are taught nothing about at all. And at about that time, they started saying you must take supplements for your condition. And my main interest was in macular degeneration, chronic degenerative condition. So I went along to Moorfields, which is the eye hospital, and I spoke to the chap in charge of the macular disease unit. And he says, well, they need lots of antioxidants. And at that time, they were bringing in supplements. And virtually every branch of medicine was being told to recommend supplementation. And I said, supplements? I don't really like supplements much. And he said, no, he doesn't either. But why not just go for the natural thing? Just go for fruits and vegetables. And then I remembered what Nicky had been saying. And I went back to her and she showed me some of the research, which was just showing, as we all know, that fruits and vegetables provide the antioxidants which we need to counter disease. And so that's what clinched it for me. I mean, ever since that time, every one of my patients with macular degeneration is now on Juice Plus. So, that's not quite true because I may not recommend it to NHS patients. But outside the NHS, all my patients are on Juice Plus because I believe in it. And there's anecdotal evidence that it does actually help them.
Yeah. And there's obviously a lot of anecdotal evidence, but there's also a lot of research that's been done in many universities around the world. And I think that's something that I'd really like to tap into. And I'm not sure whether you'd be the best person to ask or maybe Nicky, but a lot of my friends, Nicky, they're really skeptical and they're just like, well, who pays for the research and is it authentic? And I mean, how could we answer that? Can you give me a reasonable answer or a good way?
Oddly enough, Tim, I had a call from a very new customer this evening who'd been onto the internet with her Juice Plus having arrived, and she was horrified at some of the stories that she tripped over there. So she wanted to cancel her Juice Plus. She came through to me and I had a word with her about just the research that's been undertaken over 23 years now. And personally, I didn't believe that they could get fruits and vegetables into capsules when it first came out. So I was as cynical and skeptical as everybody else. But it was only the research that many years ago started to break through, and that really was the compelling evidence for me to stick with this product. And I suppose I've grown up with it now over a number of years, and as more and more research has been undertaken by independent organizations around the world, it just has reinforced what we have. I mean, why would organizations like MD Anderson Cancer Centers or universities around the world bother to research something that is so simple, fruits and vegetables in capsule? The reason is, for the first time in the history of the planet, we have a quantitative amount of fruits and vegetables you can give to anybody, any age, any stage of health, and measure what happens. And that's what they recognize, and that's what they've done. So from the very early research, which was, as John mentioned, on antioxidant and free radical reduction, we now have some very detailed research on all sorts of aspects of human physiology. That's exciting because that is the proof of the pudding that, fruits and vegetables do an awful lot of exciting things for all of us. And why isn't everybody adding this to their diet? The company don't pay anybody to handle research. They give the product and they give the placebo. And that's another aspect of research, which is pretty important because, there are different ways of running research studies. And if you have a placebo-controlled study, then it has a much deeper impact and effect than just giving people the actual product. But I can run through some of that research for you if you'd like. I've just shot a few slides together for you. Would you like me to do that?
Oh yeah, Nicky, that would be awesome. But before you do, one thing I'd like to inject a little bit here is that since I've been building up Team Elevate, and there's 13 or 14 of us now, and we've got 90 live customers in the last 12 months. 20 of them came on this month, and what that has shown to me is it's absolute proof in my mind, because I know a lot of these people and I've heard their stories and I know they're not lying. I know it's real. I know it's genuine. And for me personally, I don't need to see any evidence at all, because I've been on the product for 20 years. I know that I've only been to see a doctor once in that time. You know, my son Rocco, who's been taking JP ever since he was old enough to eat, and in fact yesterday he had his first capsule and then he asked for another one. It just makes you really happy, because I know he's going to be really healthy as a result of that. But for a lot of people that haven't ever tried Juice Plus, and they haven't that they don't have those experiences, because they don't know anyone apart from me that's taken it. I think the research really is that's the golden stamp that they're looking for. So yeah, it'd be fantastic if you could talk us through some of the research.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all, Tim.
I think before Nicky goes on to that, most of the research has been done for non-specific events, bioavailability, all that sort of thing. That's fine. But I think in the very near future, we are going to be looking at particular disease entities. In fact, I'm hoping to liaise with some ophthalmologists from Glasgow and Birmingham to look at the effect of Juice Plus on macular pigment density. Now that again is looking at the basics, but if it does show an improvement in macular pigment density, that is tantamount to saying it's going to help macular degeneration. It's a sine qua non. It's going to be, and we're getting close to looking at particular disease entities and showing the effect of Juice Plus on it. So Tim, don't worry about people who don't believe how good it is. You'll soon have evidence to say, look, it does actually help this, that, or the other condition.
Wow, that's amazing. Thanks, John.
I know we're time limited here, so I'm just going to jump in and say that there is nothing better than introducing your family to Juice Plus, and then to hear years later them talking to their own family. That really is the big plus, because then you know that the wheels are going to continue turning. So you just wait, Tim. You'll find in a few years' time, you'll be hearing your own son talking about fruits and vegetables, and there's nothing better. Let me see if I can share my screen with you.
Okay, awesome.
I'm going to run through very, very quickly. So get your notebooks ready here.
All right, cool. Thanks, Nicky.
Here we go. Current slide. Right. Can you see that quite clearly, or is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. My message to everybody is, if you don't take care of your body, where else are you going to live? We've got Juice Plus, fruits, vegetables and berries, 30 fruits, vegetables and berries you can plant into your body every day. It's been encapsulated under pharmaceutical conditions, and that's quite important for the research because it's clean. The pharmaceutical conditions under which it is put together has got all of the top research and, the top production standards that are available. So the pharmaceutical companies really do drool at this. It's just literally a nutritional safety belt that we're offering to people. The science, as I said earlier on, has been bouncing around now and coming through for the last 23 years. And we've now got over 35 independent, and that's really important, scientific studies, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed. And this is just an overview of all of the things that have been proven when people add Juice Plus to the body. I'm not going to go into detail because you can take a shot of this and use this for anybody that is looking at Juice Plus. But really, when you've got all of those nutrients in capsules, the test has been that when the goodness gets into your body, what does it do when it gets there? And that's really what a lot of the research has been around. I'm just going to go very quickly through some of the research. And this is the key one that I always bring it to people's attention, because it was out of some of the earliest research. The buzzwords we hear these days in the press and at any of the scientific meetings, any of the nutritional meetings we go to, are antioxidants, lipid peroxides, oxidative stress. What was found, you see along the bottom of this screen here, I don't know if I move my cursor. Can you see? Okay, fine.
Yeah,
this is a month. So you've got 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, 28 days. These lines going up here are all the good things, the antioxidants going up. This blue line coming down are the lipid peroxides, oxidative stress, coming down by 75% within that first 28-day frame. And you can see here there's a crossover period at about 7, sometimes 12 days. That's what we refer to as the detoxification period, when people might, when they start adding this wonderful nutrient to their body, experience some changes, sometimes going to the toilet a little bit more frequently, sometimes feeling slightly nauseous, sometimes just headaches. Drink more water, flush that through your system. But the study results have been consistent since this research was undertaken. Now, we've got a lot of research now that's been undertaken proving that those antioxidants are delivered and absorbed by the body, that the oxidative stresses are reduced, that there are biomarkers of systemic inflammation. I'm going to come into more detail on these because this is really significant. Just the wealth and the weight of the research that's been undertaken, supporting healthy immune system, protecting DNA, supporting cardiovascular wellness. You know, for the girls, particularly these days, one of the things that everybody's keen to have is good, clean, healthy-looking skin. And we hear about the Juice Plus Glow so often. But there was a clinic in Germany that undertook research on skin health, proved that the microcirculation in the skin capillaries, skin density and thickness, improved skin hydration was there. So chuck the Botox away, chuck the fillers away, and get the fruits and vegetables into you. You can see here that this research was undertaken only on the fruit and vegetable capsules.
Yeah.
Now, healthy gums, research undertaken in Birmingham on, you know, when you brush your teeth and your gums bleed, shouldn't happen. And this research that was undertaken proved that within a very short time scale, either with just the fruit and veg or the fruit, veg and berry, that problem, that issue went away. And that's been the experience of an awful lot of people. And you'll hear that time after time, people will talk about the reduction and to the elimination of the bleeding of their gums. The only research to date that's been undertaken using the complete, that's the protein shake and the capsules, is MD Anderson Cancer Centers. And the research was not to cure cancer, it was to improve the quality of life of people undergoing treatment for ovarian cancer and some head and neck cancers. And that has been really exciting. And, you know, I know we've got soy incomplete, but it's our own homegrown soy. It's good, it's clean, and that combination of plants within that complex works. So, you know, quality of life dramatically improved. University of South Carolina, there are 3 or 4 papers here proving that markers of DNA damage, now people who really are working their bodies hard, people who are involved with sport, need to be aware that they are really creating damage in their bodies. You need to be taking on board as many antioxidants as you possibly can on a regular daily basis to reduce and help your body to be as healthy as possible, to reduce the lipid peroxides, the oxidative stress. This was what was proved by the University of California. I'm really excited about this one. Can you imagine boys aged 6 to 10 being overweight? I was horrified when I heard they were doing research on this, but you know, with guidance from counsellors and taking the Juice Plus capsules for just 6 months, the reduction in adiposity around these kids' middles means that they were moving towards a much, much healthier adulthood, teenage and adulthood, because of the improved insulin resistance. So it's not just adults that should be adding this to their diet at all. I'm going to jump on John for this one, because this really is about the papers that have been reviewed on supplements, and of the 22 papers, 20 of them were on Juice Plus. Was that right?
I knew Nicky was going to do this to me. Always an unexpected question. Basically, we've had these 35 papers on the effects of Juice Plus, and somebody decided to look at all the good papers he could find looking at the beneficial effects of fruits and vegetables on the body. And they got these together. So this is a review of all of the research that's been done. And lo and behold, they found that of the 22 papers they pulled in, 20 of them were on Juice Plus.
No way.
That just shows the volume of work being done on Juice Plus by all of these institutions.
So it's a really positive one. That is really exciting.
Wow. Yeah, that's really impressive.
Okay, now I'm just going to run through some of these quite fast because oxidative stress in heavy smokers, proven that people who smoke, antioxidant levels go up, oxidative stress is come down. This was a nice one. The Berlin Charité Hospital in Berlin, big hospital in Berlin. They put over 500 of their frontline staff onto Juice Plus for, I think it was about 4 months, and found that there was a 20% reduction in days missed from work due to the common cold and other lightweight problems. But, that's massive. If you've got a big organization, a big company, days missed from work is a big problem for them. Here we go, back to the University of South Carolina and reduction of chronic systemic inflammation. Marcus, did you want to say anything? Nudge me if you do want to say anything, John. Simply because of the increased antioxidant in enzyme superoxide.
Well, this is just reinforcing the fact that we now know that the main cause of all disease processes is what's called systemic or silent inflammation. And I've been looking at conditions like MS and all the other autoimmune conditions and diabetes. And, well, you can mention almost any disease, and they are all related to so-called silent inflammation, which is something we didn't even take any notice of until just a few years ago. We always thought that smoking caused lung cancer. We didn't know that the reason it caused it was because it provided free radicals, which created an environment for silent inflammation, and it is the silent inflammation that causes the problem. And all of this research that's been done on Juice Plus over the last 25 odd years, if you look at it, you see that nearly all is directed at the beneficial effects of antioxidants on silent inflammation. Well, I'm not surprised, but it's just a fantastic message to get across, particularly to the medical profession. They are now just slowly starting to realize that the disease process is due to silent inflammation. They're all pushing fruits and vegetables, but now we know why fruits and vegetables are in fact so beneficial.
So, just moving on from there, you can see here we've got the medicine and sports. People who are involved with using their bodies a lot really do need to get a lot of antioxidants into their system. The research just goes on and on and on. People involved with intense and anaerobic exercise, whatever the exercise is, need more antioxidants. Here we go. This is another one. These guys, these were the Cobra group of, they're like our SAS guys, really, the elite terrorism defense force. And that was the group of people who the research was undertaken on for the Medical University of Graz. And they found that there was a massive reduction of oxidative stress because of the fruits and vegetables that these guys were adding to their diet. This is an interesting one. This rather upside down chart just shows that people who have vasoactivity following a high fat meal, and let's face it, everybody has fat in their diet these days, by adding the fruit and vegetable and the berries, it's the berries that are so significant here, there is a massive reduction in vasoactivity in a very short time scale. So in 28 days, you really are looking at a huge difference. I mean, that breakdown, I've often described these fats as there are good fats and there are jagged, nasty fats. And it's those nasty fats that need to be broken down very quickly after you've had a meal. You don't need that in your blood system. You don't need it anywhere in your body. So if you can have that broken down, fruits and vegetables will do that. How are we doing for time, Tim?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay. University of Florida, reduction in DNA damage, improved markers of normal immune function. And, all of this is done with this amazing quality of manufacturing and testing within the production of a Juice Plus product. Now, the NSF, for sports people, we have a specific batch of fruits, vegetables, and berries, which is stamped which is recognised as being free of any contaminants that are going to cause sports people who are at the top of their game challenges. So if you have people who are in that arena, then you can offer them more than just the regular Juice Plus. Oh, and this part makes me so excited. For the last 16, 17 years, we've had running a children's health study. We have had nearly 2 million families enjoy free fruits and vegetables for their children. Kids have to be aged between 4 and up until the day before their 21st birthday, they can be signed up for free fruits and vegetables for up to 4 years. It means that kids with the grisly little icicles down their noses when they go to nursery and they're mixing with new children and new bugs, etc., can be protected from that. And it means your kids, when they're going to university, say age 21, can be having free fruits and vegetables up until the age of 25 or day before their 25th birthday. The changes that have taken place, this is an anecdotal study, this is not research, scientific research, but the results have been absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, fewer days missed from school means that parents take less time off from work, the kids are drinking more water, they are eating more fruits and vegetables. There's just so many wonderful benefits from children and families having these fruits and vegetables. Lists of all of the organisations that have so far been involved in undertaking research, very, very impressive. You don't get that. I mean, we're known by the company we keep, and we're in good company here. So there is ongoing research, and you'll be hearing more and more and more about the research that's coming through. We've got some really exciting stuff, and I think that is phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal to introduce people to. And, you know, it's there for us all to share.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Nicky. That was awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. A couple of other questions that I've been asked, which talk about the research, is like, our research is gold standard. Is that? Can you talk to us a little bit about that? I mean, what does that mean, or what's the relevance of that?
Our research is gold standard. What does that mean?
There are a couple of criteria. It should be double-blind, crossover, placebo-controlled. I can't explain all of these things, but Nicky just put this up, and peer-reviewed. Well, we know it fulfills all of these criteria. I think most people understand what gold standard research is.
Yeah.
It is research which involves those 4 criteria, and every one of the research papers done on Juice Plus has been so-called gold standard. And this last overall review really underlines the fact that all of the other research that's been done is pucker research.
Yeah.
No disputes. When you hear people say, oh, are they funding it? Well, no research anywhere in the world can be done without funds.
Yeah.
But Juice Plus doesn't actually put money into it, and although they contribute placebos and the products quite often, they have no input into the conclusions at all. And, and you'll see any research paper will actually have a little statement saying that the sponsors, if you want to use that word, had nothing to do with the outcome. So,
really?
Yeah, there's no question about that.
Yeah. It's that's really good to hear, actually, because I know a lot of people think that Juice Plus fund their own research, and that's it's like a quick answer just to try and find flaws in the research. But you're saying that they don't actually fund the research; they just provide the products.
Yes, that's right.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool. Thanks very much for that, you guys. That's impressive. So if there's anyone out there who's thinking about, why should I take Juice Plus or why should you get involved? Well, I think you can see here that there's quite a few people that have obviously taken Juice Plus for a really long time. I've taken it for 20 years. My mum and dad have taken it for longer than that. I know you guys have taken it for a lot longer than that too. And we know what it does to us. And that's the reason why we're kind of doing this and talking about it and sharing it with other people. But the kind of key for me is that if you do want to see the evidence, if you want to see the research, then we've got it, and it's real, and it's done by universities. It's not funded by Juice Plus, and it's double-blind placebo controlled, which is like the gold standard of research papers. So it's it's pretty interesting. And to be honest, the other thing is as well is when you look at the Children's Health Study, which is something that I'm part of. Like, I've got a really good friend of mine whose son has got eczema, and I'm sponsoring him so he can get free Juice Plus, and he's on month 3 right now. And I just sent a message to them in England, or to his mum in England, a couple of days ago, just to see how he's doing. And she was like, well, actually, yeah, he's doing really, really well. Like, normally he has a really tough time in the winter. And at the moment, it's the best it's been since a long time. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. I know 3 other kids, Shay's kids, who have all not got eczema at all now, and they all had it quite severely. And the only thing that she's changed was adding Juice Plus to their diet. So their kids are like completely psyched, and also talking to all their friends about how much they love it. So, there's skeptical people out there, and I was skeptical too. So was John, so was Nicky. I think everyone's skeptical. If you're not skeptical, there's something wrong with you. But if you take the time to look into the details of it, and you look at the research, and more to the point, if you try it yourself, you might find you'd be really pleasantly surprised. So, Nicky, thanks so much for contributing to this evening. And John as well, an ophthalmologist, an eye surgeon. It's been really valuable to have your input on this from a medical perspective. And like before we finish off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open house to see. I'm going to unmute everyone basically, just to see if anyone's got any questions or any comments to finish off the talk. No, are we good?
I would like to ask, Nicky, can you just tell everyone a bit about your background, because it came from quite a pharmaceutical point of view, didn't it? You were a skeptic, but what was that?
Sorry, say that again, Suzanne.
Your background, you were quite a skeptic before you got involved with Juice Plus. What was your background? Because it was from a pharmaceutical point of view, wasn't it?
Not really, no. My father worked for Glaxo when I was a child, and I was very aware that there had been no research. I didn't believe that they could get fruits and vegetables into a capsule. That had to be a lie, definitely. And it took me 2.5 years to actually consider giving it to my at 3 years old, he developed really bad eczema, and he was now about 7 years old. And when I finally ran out of other options and gave him the Juice Plus, Suzanne, it took about 6 weeks for him to clear, and it was a light bulb moment and a slap round the face, because I was an old mum of young children, and I thought I knew it all. And what was this Juice Plus? It couldn't possibly be fruits and vegetables. Well, I've had to eat my words literally many times. And I have had some very, very powerful stories as a result of telling just that. But I've had personal experience. But as Tim asked early on, how many people have I helped? Thousands. One of the doctors in my team often says that I have probably helped more people with their health than he has in his whole career. So that's what we have as a team. We're out there talking to people, not about big things, but we're just talking to them about commonplace, fundamental, life-changing things that are so simple. We've moved too far away. Get back to the earth.
Wow, thanks for that, Nicky. That's awesome. Hey, yeah, well, thanks very much, everyone. If you would like any more information, if you could get in touch with myself or the person that introduced you to this call, we'll be happy to share more details with you. Cool. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Tim. Bye-bye.
Bye, Tim.